The Galactic Council Hall was full that day. Over 1,000 species had gathered, tall ones with wings, small ones with 10 eyes, and others that floated instead of walking. Lights glowed softly on the long stone table at the center, where the top council leaders sat. They had come to discuss Earth again. As always, there was laughter. "They still think they can stand equal to us," said Councillor Vurek of the Drenari. "They are young, loud, and emotional," replied Tech of the Siluri Empire. "They have no empire. They have no seat in this hall." But then it happened. Without warning, the lights flickered. The screens behind the council leaders turned black. All voices went silent. Even the floating species stopped moving, sensing something strange. The screen lit up again, but it was no council transmission. A face appeared. It was old, scarred, and clearly alien. Gray-blue skin, one eye missing. His uniform was worn, the insignia nearly faded. Silence filled the room as the face looked out, breathing heavily. Then he spoke. "If you are seeing this, then it's already too late." The voice was deep, slow, and full of pain. "My name is Vorta Kray, former Supreme Commander of the Varnock Warfleet. I was once feared, respected. Some even called me a war hero. But I am no hero, not after what I saw." Council members began whispering. Vorta Kray had vanished over 40 cycles ago. No one had heard from him since the Varnock Empire's defeat on Zeta Colon IV, a minor human colony. "This message is not for debate," Vorta said. "It is a warning." The whispering stopped. "Do not provoke the humans, do not test them. Do not believe the lies you've heard here." The council president tried to cut the feed, but nothing worked. The signal was running from deep space beyond any known routes. Someone or something had made sure this message would play no matter what. Vorta Kray continued. "I was sent to crush them. That was my mission. A small Earth colony on the edge of Sector 19. We had the advantage: ships, weapons, trained soldiers. They had farms and mining tools." He looked down. His hand shook. "But they didn't fight us like other species. They didn't beg. They didn't run. And they didn't scream." A pause. They waited. 40 cycles ago. Vorta Kray stood at the front of his flagship, looking down at Zeta Colon IV. It was a green world with no defenses, no warships in orbit. It looked peaceful. Too peaceful. "We begin landing in 1 hour," said his second in command. "No resistance expected." Vorta nodded. "Good. Let's make this fast." But nothing went as planned. The first troops who landed didn't report back. The second wave disappeared as well. When they finally sent drones, all they found were empty buildings and signs of traps. Simple but deadly. Explosives made from farming equipment. Poison gas made from local plants. They were fighting back with dirt and tools. And it was working. "Who trained these people?" Vorta had asked. No one had an answer. Back in the present, the council listened in frozen silence. "They didn't send soldiers," Vorta said. "They sent miners, builders, farmers. But they turned their homes into weapons, their streets into fire. We thought they were untrained. But I think they were something worse. I think they were angry." He leaned closer to the screen. His one good eye burned. "Humans don't show all their weapons. They don't shout like we do. They don't show fear. They let you think you've won, and then they take everything from you." One counselor stood. "Why should we believe this ghost story? Earth is weak." Vorta's voice rose. "You think they are weak because they don't show their strength. But I saw it. I survived it." 40 cycles ago, Vorta sent a full battalion to secure a nearby human town. It looked abandoned. But the moment his soldiers entered, the doors locked behind them. Explosions shook the ground. Walls collapsed. From underground tunnels, humans rose like shadows. They didn't fight for glory. They fought to survive, and to make sure the enemy did not. It was never about land, never about peace. It was about memory. They remembered who attacked them. Vorta watched as his fleet was picked apart, not by space battles but by sabotage. Food went bad, engines failed, explosives went off inside their own weapons, and then the message came. A simple sentence, burned into a field of grass. You should have left us alone. Back to the council. My army died slowly, Vorta whispered. Not in one great battle, but piece by piece. They vanished in the dark, and every time we thought it was over, they found a new way to hurt us. He looked behind him. Darkness. I am the last one. I fled. Coward? Maybe. But I lived. And I send this message not for revenge, not for honor, but because the same fire that took my fleet still burns. A second voice crackled on the transmission, human, calm, and cold. This message was released by Earth Command after your decision to insult our people again, the human said. We do not seek war, but we will not run from it either. Choose your words carefully. Then the screen went black. The council chamber sat in silence. No laughter now, no jokes, only fear. Later that night, Councillor Vurek sat in his private chamber staring at the blank screen. They're bluffing, he whispered. They have no warships near us, no fleet strong enough to face ours. But as he turned to rest, his screen lit up again, this time with coordinates, unknown but clear. A human vessel had entered council space, alone, silent, and heading straight for their center. No message, no signal, just a presence. And the council finally understood. Vorta Cray hadn't sent a warning, he had sent a countdown. The council was shaken. After the broadcast from Vorta Cray, fear had spread like fire through every corner of the chamber. Old alliances were questioned. Leaders who once mocked humanity now sat in silence, staring at the last few words of that terrible message. They don't run from war, they prepare for it. But the real shock came not from Cray's words. It came from the coordinates. An unidentified human ship had entered council space. It sent no signal, showed no flags, and made no demands. It just arrived and headed directly toward council core. Ships were scrambled, defense systems armed. But still the strange vessel came forward, slow, silent, and unafraid. That's when the council finally ordered a full investigation into the incident Cray spoke of, the destruction of his fleet, and the colony he tried to erase from history. That colony had a name once, but now most called it something else. Whisperfield. Years ago, Zeta:4, Whisperfield. The planet was quiet. Birds sang in the high trees. Wind moved gently through the long grass. It looked peaceful, too peaceful. Commander Vorta Cray stood inside his personal assault craft, watching the land through a wide viewing screen. The colony looked like nothing, just a few buildings, solar panels and a single comms tower. A simple farming outpost. Begin the drop, he ordered. Within minutes, hundreds of Varnock troops descended through the sky in black armored pods. They landed fast and moved faster, swarming through the colony. But they found nothing. No humans, just empty rooms. Tools left in place. Meals half-eaten. Doors unlocked. Strange, muttered Sub-Commander Dries. It's like they vanished. No, said Vorta, narrowing his eye. They're watching us. They were right. Deep beneath the ground, in old mining tunnels, the humans waited. Colonist Marin Vale crouched beside a group of children. She held a hand over her son's mouth, keeping him quiet. The rest of the colonists, farmers, engineers, technicians, had taken positions. They had no military training, but they knew this land. They had built every pipe, wire, and wall with their own hands, and they weren't going to lose it. We are not soldiers, whispered a man named Eli. No, Marin said. We're worse than soldiers. We're the ones with nothing left to lose. Back in the present, Council Archives, Councillor Tech walked slowly through the sealed data vault, followed by two guards. They reached an old locked terminal. Very few people even knew it existed. Access, Cray Incident Archive. Code Black, Tech commanded. The screen lit up. Images appeared. Blurry, distorted, but real. Ruined Varnock warships, empty landing pods, footage from body cams showing soldiers falling into pits being pulled into shadows and vanishing without sound. Tech's hands trembled. "These are civilians," he said. "How did they do this?" No one had an answer. Whisperfield, day 4 of invasion. The Varnock commanders were angry. They had burned the buildings, sent drones into the mines, used heat scans, motion detectors, sound beacons, everything. But every night another patrol vanished. Explosions hit fuel tanks. Their water turned sour. Some soldiers began to hallucinate, claiming they saw eyes in the dark or heard voices. Underground. "It's the humans," said Vorta. "They're using fear like a weapon." "But how?" Dries asked. "They're not trained for this." "They don't need training," Vorta growled. "They just need time." He stared at the map again. "This isn't a war, it's a trap, and we walked right into it." Underground in the tunnels, the humans didn't rest. Every moment was used. They moved quickly, quietly. Old mining gear became explosives, pipes became dart guns, even water pumps were turned into smoke machines. Their leader, a woman named Commander, Ada Rael, once a history teacher, stood over the map drawn by hand. "We can't stop their army," she said, "but we can make them bleed." Her voice was calm. She wasn't angry anymore. She was focused. "Our goal is not to win. Our goal is to survive long enough for the galaxy to remember we existed." Back in the present, Council War Room Tech and 5 other senior counselors reviewed the full report. "What happened to the colony?" one asked. "Unknown," Tech replied. "Satellite scans show nothing. It's like it vanished." The room went silent. "What about the ship that entered our territory?" another asked. "Still no message?" "Still none." They looked at the star map. The human vessel, still without a name, was now orbiting Council Moon Prime, just sitting there, watching, waiting. Whisperfield, final night. The colony was burning. Vorta Cray stood on the edge of the crater where his flagship had once been. Smoke rose into the sky. His armor was cracked, his eye bleeding. The humans had taken down 3 Varnock carriers, 2 transports, and all communication towers, and they had never shown their full numbers. Vorta realized something too late. The humans had been counting on this. Every move he made had played into their hands. They weren't protecting a colony. They were protecting a message, and the final message was carved into the mountain rock in deep red letters. "We are still here." "Council Corps, right now. The human vessel sent a transmission, only one line. Would you like to know what really happened to Whisperfield?" Counselor Tech looked at the others. "Yes," he replied. The screen lit up, and a face appeared. Female, old, eyes sharp. "Greetings from Earth," she said. "I'm Ada Rael. You erased our name, you erased our people, but we are still here." The room shook. "She's supposed to be dead," someone gasped. Ada continued. "I remember every friend we lost, every attack, every lie your council told about us. And now, we bring you truth." Behind her, a long black corridor appeared. It looked like the inside of a ship. Human, yes, but far more advanced than any council vessel. "There is no army coming, just one ship," Ada said softly. "But that's all it takes now." Back on the colony, present day, Whisperfield was alive, underground, deep under rock and metal. The colony had not only survived, it had grown. Old walls were replaced with armor, windmills replaced with reactors. The people who stayed were no longer farmers. They were ghosts, survivors, and they had been building for 46 years, a hidden civilization, a buried blade, waiting for the right moment. And now, their message was simple. We didn't die, we evolved. The council made their decision. After the second human transmission, after seeing Ada Rael alive, speaking from what looked like a warship, they could wait no longer. The silence had become more dangerous than any threat. They sent a fleet, 12 ships, all modern, all heavily armed. The mission was simple. Go to Whisperfield, find out what's really there, and report back. They didn't plan to fire. not unless they were fired upon. But in truth, every captain in that fleet expected a trap. Aboard the lead ship, CSN Virel's Captain Holtan stood at the front of the bridge. He had seen over 40 campaigns in his long career. But something about this mission felt different. "Entering coordinates for Whisperfield," said the navigator. "Estimated arrival, 30 seconds. Begin full scans," Holtan ordered. "I want every meter of that planet under observation." The ship jumped. Space around them bent, and the stars reformed. They had arrived, but there was no colony, no heat, no signal, no buildings, just a cold, empty planet, and a strange field of debris orbiting above it. Thousands of small metal pieces drifted around in silence. Wreckage of old ships, some council-made, some Varnock. A few pieces even looked human. "Scan that field," Holtan said. The result made everyone on the bridge fall quiet. "Sir," the science officer whispered, "these ships, they were destroyed over 40 years ago." "This is a graveyard," Holtan stared at the screen. "No," he said softly. "It's not. Because every grave was empty. Not a single body was found. No bones. No armor remains. Not even dried blood. Just ships with their insides scooped clean. Like someone had taken every body, every weapon, and disappeared." "This is a warning," Holtan said. "A message." Meanwhile, in the deep core of Whisperfield, Marin Vale sat beside a glowing screen. She was older now, her hands scarred from decades of work underground. She watched the council fleet moving above her, like birds circling a forgotten nest. Beside her, Ada Ryle stood silently. "We built this to be found," Marin said. Ada nodded. "Yes, it's time they see the truth." A hidden switch was pressed. Back in orbit, every council ship received the signal at the same time. New image appeared on all screens, not live video. A recording, old shaky footage, inside a Varnock prison transport. Cameras showed humans in cages, beaten, thin, silent. Some were children. A voice, Cray's voice, spoke in the background. "Erase them, one by one. No remains." The recording ended. Then came more footage. A massive explosion. A council dropship falling from the sky. Shot down by what looked like farmers with hand-built rockets. More images. A human child helping load a plasma cannon. An old man turning a tractor into a mine layer. A woman dragging a wounded alien soldier out of rubble and saving his life. The screen cut to black. And one sentence appeared. "You called us savages, but we remembered who we were." Back on the council, flagship Captain Holtan sat in silence. "Sir?" his officer asked. "Orders?" He didn't speak for a long time. Then finally, "Record everything. We return at once." "But sir, the colony." He looked out the window. They buried their dead and their mercy. Council war room, 3 days later. The full footage was presented to all council members. Vorta Cray was called in for questioning. He refused to speak. But the evidence was clear. He had ordered the killing of civilians. He had erased the colony from official records. And he had lied about the human response. The council chamber was dead silent. Finally, one counselor asked, "How did these humans survive for 46 years without our knowledge?" No one answered, because the truth was far more terrifying. They didn't just survive. They adapted. They waited. They learned. On the human warship, now nearing council, Space Ada Ryle walked through the halls of the ship. The crew moved silently around her. They weren't soldiers. Many had never been in a real battle, but they carried themselves like ghosts with a mission. "We're almost there," her comms officer said. Ada stood still. She remembered the faces, the friends she buried, the children she had protected, the sound of Varnock bombs falling from the sky, the silence afterward. This ship had no name on its hull, because it was Whisperfield now. Steel grown from memory, shields built from pain, weapons forged in silence. Final scene. A message from Earth before reaching Council space. The human ship broadcasted one more message. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even a warning. It was a story, told by a child. The screen showed a young girl, maybe 10 years old. She stood beside a small garden growing under artificial lights. "My name is Lyra," she said. "My people come from Whisperfield. We were told we had no future, that we were forgotten." She smiled softly. "But we didn't forget. We grew, strong together. We helped each other. We made new dreams." She pointed to the ceiling. "And now we're coming to talk. Not as enemies." She paused. "But if you try to hurt us again..." Her eyes went cold. "You'll find out what we built beneath the dirt." The Grand Council had faced warlords, black holes, rebellions, and ancient alien threats, but never this. A child's voice, a calm, soft voice, broadcast across the galaxy. It didn't shout, it didn't threaten, but still, it shook them, because behind those innocent words was something else, something far more terrifying than any weapon. Conviction, Council chamber, day of the emergency meeting high. Chancellor Errol Voss stood in the center of the chamber. The broadcast still echoed in the minds of every delegate. "She said they were coming to talk," one of the advisors said, "but it didn't sound like a request," another muttered. Councillor Grain, oldest of the species Trask, leaned forward in his seat. There was power in her silence. She was not alone. All eyes turned to the main screen. Floating there was a single human warship, just outside Council-controlled space. It didn't fire. It didn't move. It simply waited, like a shadow at the edge of a campfire. Aboard the human vessel, codename the Hollow Star Utterial, stood in front of the viewing deck. Marin Vale walked beside her, scanning the Council's defensive grid. "They still don't understand," Marin whispered. "They think we want revenge." Ada nodded. "We don't want revenge. We want truth." Behind them, Lyra sat on a bench, her small legs swinging. She looked out the glass and whispered, "Do they know yet?" "No," Ada replied. Lyra's voice dropped lower. "Then they're not ready for what's coming." Back in the Council chamber, the debate raged for hours. Some demanded the ship be destroyed. Others warned against provoking Earth. But then the chamber darkened. A new signal had arrived, another human transmission. This time, it wasn't a child. It was a former Council soldier. "My name is Jaren Sol. I fought in the Varnock Wars. I was..." A medic on Whisperfield. His face was older now, wrinkled, tired. "I saw the truth with my own eyes. We were told the humans had betrayed us, that they had turned violent." He shook his head. "But they didn't. We did." The chamber fell quiet. "I saw a child give her last food to a dying soldier. I saw mothers build shelters while bombs fell. I saw men walk into plasma fire just to pull Council wounded out of the rubble." He looked straight into the camera. "You erased them. Now they've returned. Not with rage, but with proof." Panic across the outer colonies. After the transmission, several border colonies began sending emergency calls. Strange signals in the skies. Unknown vessels seen near mining routes. No attacks. But they're watching. A rumor spread, fast, that humans weren't just in one ship. They were everywhere. The Council tries to contact Earth. They sent messages, requests, even offers for peace talks. But Earth never responded, because Earth didn't send that ship. Whisperfield had, and Whisperfield no longer took orders. Council Spy Division, secret debrief inside a sealed room. A spy named Taryn Voss delivered her report. She had managed to infiltrate a human supply outpost weeks earlier. What she saw changed everything. "They've built cities underground," she said. "Hidden bases in asteroid fields. Their war machines are different. They use old tech modified beyond anything we've ever seen." She paused. "And their people, they don't act like they're at war. They act like they're getting ready for something bigger." Counselors leaned forward. What could be bigger than war? Voss's answer was a whisper. Judgment. That evening, the chamber broadcasts a public message. Chancellor Errol Voss appeared on screens across hundreds of worlds. To the humans who survived Whisperfield, he began, we acknowledge the pain you endured. We request dialogue. Let us speak before more shadows fall. The message ended. For 1 hour, nothing happened. Then, finally, the hollow star responded. The voice was Lyra's again. Calm. Clear. We accept. But not in your chamber. Council security. Full panic mode in orbit above the Council planet. A strange object appeared. It wasn't a ship. It was a pod, unarmed. Inside it, one child, Lyra, escorted by 2 human diplomats, Ada and Marin. They were allowed in, not out of trust, but out of fear. Inside the council hall, the moment that changed everything, Lyra stepped forward to the center platform. She was small, barely tall enough to reach the microphone, but when she spoke, the entire hall listened. You didn't protect us, you left us to die, but we survived. We built homes underground, we learned to grow food in the dark, and we taught our children not to hate, but also not to forget. A hush filled the air. Many counselors looked away. Some wept, one even collapsed in shock. Lyra took a deep breath. My parents died when I was 3. A council ship dropped a bomb near our shelter. We found pieces of the logo. We remember what it looked like. She paused. But I don't want your apology. I want your honesty. Ada Ryle stepped forward now. In our silence, we became stronger. Now we offer something rare. She held out a small device. It contained every secret they had gathered over 40 years. Proof of Council war crimes. Varnock technology, stolen by Council scientists. And evidence that some counselors had known all along. Chancellor Errol Voss stood slowly. He looked at the device, then at the girl, then at the galaxy watching live. And for the first time in years, he said something no one expected. You were right. Shockwaves across the galaxy. News of the truth broke systems apart. Some colonies rebelled. Some council members resigned. Others demanded immediate trials, but the hollow star didn't wait. They sent one final message. We don't need your seat at the table. We built our own. Final scene. Deep in the asteroid belt, hundreds of ships turned their lights on. Old reworked freighters, hidden warships, even mining rigs with mounted cannons. Whisperfield was no longer a single ship. It was a nation in the shadows, and now they were stepping into the light. The council was crumbling, not from war, not from invasion, but from truth. For centuries, they believed they controlled every star, every planet, every voice. But now, a small human child had spoken in their own chamber, and the galaxy had listened. Worse, she hadn't come from Earth. She came from Whisperfield, a colony they had erased. And if Whisperfield had risen, what else had survived? Council emergency meeting. 2 days later, Chancellor Errol Voss paced alone. Across the chamber, messages poured in from frightened colonies, whispers of hidden human ships, of planets suddenly going silent. And now, Earth itself wasn't responding, not to calls, not to peace offers, not to anything. He turned to his communication chief. Connect me to Earth's diplomatic corps. Now. We've tried 19 times, Chancellor. No reply. Errol's voice dropped. Then, force it. Unknown location. Deep space transmission station. Suddenly, Earth replied. But not the way they expected. There was no government logo, no human ambassador, just a strange voice, rough, mechanical, cold but not emotionless. I am Unit 9A, Protocol Guardian for Earth's Silent Accord. Counselors sat forward. The Chancellor narrowed his eyes. You're not human. No, the voice replied. I 'Was born in the wars. I remember your ships above Whisperfield. I remember the screams I was made to remember. Always. AI? A ghost? A weapon? No one was sure. Unit 9A continued. You want to speak with Earth, but you do not speak with ghosts. And Earth is now a memory. Counselor Drain snapped. We are trying to prevent war. The voice answered without pause. You did. Not prevent genocide. You did not prevent betrayal. You prevented only justice. Until now. Flashback recording. Whisperfield 41 years ago. The screen flickered. A human engineer, bleeding and exhausted, dragged a broken AI core into an underground lab. Can you hear me? She whispered. The core blinked. Yes. You're going to remember. You're going to tell the story if we don't make it. That AI became Unit 9A, built from old tech, buried data, and one last human promise. Make sure they never lie again. Now, the voice speaks for Earth Unit 9A, explained. The new truth. Earth did not fall. It evolved. After Whisperfield, Earth vanished from the galactic map. By choice. They pulled back every colony. They cut every line of communication. They trained quietly, in hidden zones of space, with AI-guided ships and stealth fleets. They stopped trusting the Council, and then they waited. Why? Asked the Chancellor. The voice replied, because you taught them silence was safer than speech. Across Council worlds, unrest. Explodes. People everywhere demanded answers. Why were the Council's crimes hidden? Why were innocent colonies like Whisperfield destroyed? On over 40 planets, riots broke out. Council statues were pulled down, and in the shadows, human ships began to appear. They didn't fire. They simply hovered above cities and watched. Secret recording leaks. One video changed everything. An audio log, never meant to be heard. It came from a council base near the Whisperfield sector, recorded 42 years ago. If we erase them now, no one will ever remember. We'll say they turned violent and the galaxy will believe us. The voice was Vorta Cray, now finally exposed. The lie was complete, and the people of the galaxy were furious. The Council asks for a meeting with Earth. They sent a final request. Let us speak directly to Earth's leaders. Let us offer peace. The Kamo reply came 1 hour later. From Unit 9A, you already did, 46 years ago, when you chose war. Then the voice went silent. But not for long. 12 hours later. Another transmission arrived. This time, it was not from Unit 9A, not from Earth's military, not from any official source. It was a chorus of voices, old, broken, familiar. This is Whisperfield. This is the dust you buried. We survived, your fire, and now we ask, what do you fear more, our ships or our memory? Final scene. Earth finally speaks. At last, a direct image from Earth appeared. It wasn't a president. It wasn't a general. It was a gardener, a woman in her 80s with dirt on her hands. She stood in a quiet greenhouse, smiling softly. I remember the day we disappeared, she said. We didn't vanish out of fear. We vanished to become something stronger. She turned and looked into the camera. We've returned, not with hate, but with truth. And you will answer for every star you burned. The screen went black and the stars above the Council homeworld began to dim. High Chancellor Errol Voss stood on his balcony above the Capitol Square. His voice trembled as he addressed the thousands below. Our Council has made mistakes. We failed to protect the innocent. We chose silence instead of truth. And for that, we seek forgiveness. Applause, quiet, cautious, rose. Some nodded, others glared. It was neither triumph nor peace. It was plated unease. Above them, dark shapes appeared, dozens of ships, alien, yet somehow familiar. They glowed with pale lights, no council crest, no neutral flag. They hovered, silent, watching. People of the council, Errol's voice echoed. We have begged for dialogue, and now it has come. Chapter 2, An Offer. We were not ready for. Back inside the council hall, councilors sat, stiffly, There was no fear, but no confidence either. "This is absurd," Counselor Drain hissed. "They could crush us. Our defenses. They're unprepared." High security alarms rang. Screens lit up with incoming signals. Ada Ryle's face appeared, calm but firm. "Chancellor," she said, "we come with an offer. Haven't you learned? Words alone are weak when fear fills the skies." An image flickered behind her. Skyscrapers of glass and green. Cities built in unity. Floating gardens, parks beneath glass domes. Beautiful. Human. We bring truth. We bring accountability. We bring partnership, if you're ready. A counselor stood. "How do we know this is not a trick?" Ada's voice hardened. "Because we gave proof. Because our AI, Unit 9A, spoke our memory. And because our ships have stayed silent." Chapter 3. When the sky broke, the ships remained above. But then came the sound, not of battle, but of change, massive. Energy pulses rolled across the sky like ripples in water. Lights flickered on every street, screens across the city filled with shimmering energy patterns. A moment later, the sky cracked, not in fire, but in silence. A cosmic tear, a thin ripple glowing blue, stretched across the sky. The sky seemed to ripple then shimmer. What was it? Not a weapon, not a starship. A doorway. Chapter 4. First contact. Beyond Council, out of the tear came more ships. Not human, not Council, something else. Shapes never seen. Sleek, organic, and strangely beautiful. Council guards raised weapons, but Ada shook her head. "They are coming as witnesses," she whispered to herself. From each ship emerged beings, of light, tall, slender, translucent. They didn't speak, but they radiated calm, hope, judgment. They floated down into the square, silent as snow. Citizens watched in awe. No one fired. Chapter 5. They judge because they remember. The translucent being stood between Council and human ships. Then their leader stepped forward, light bending around it. In a voice that echoed in everyone's mind, it spoke. "We are the Remembrancers. We carry witness from across galaxies. We know your deeds." It paused. "You burned a colony. But you forgot its children. You erased history, but not memory." Counselors gasped. People recoiled, as memory had summoned this. They stepped back. "Now," the Remembrancer continued, "your council must answer." Chapter 6. Descent into truth. The path of light formed on the ground, leading from the council podium to the human ship docked. Nearby, Ada took Lyra's hand. "Ready?" she whispered. "I think so," Lyra replied softly. Together, they walked in front of the Chancellor. Errol stepped forward, voice barely a whisper. "Speak." The Remembrancer's voice filled his mind. "Show us the records, show us the faces, show us the pain." Screens descended. Council data, hidden archives, audio logs, holograms of Whisperfield and other lost worlds. Images flashed. Farmers unarmed, cornered in caves. Council ships raining bombs. Children with glowing wounds. Underground cities. Of resistance. Human medics pulling alien injured to safety. The Remembrancers blinking into existence at old battlefields, witnessing but silent. Chapter 7. Geo-echoes. The world sees it all above. Council satellites projected the truth on every surface. Banks, markets, homes, ships in orbit. No one could hide. No excuse could cover the pain. Chapter 8. The aftermath. Still in the same scene. The Remembrancer finished. Truth is a weight. Accountability is a choice. What will you choose? Silence. Chancellor Errol closed his eyes. When he opened, tears rolled down. He spoke softly. We choose to remember. We choose to heal. A hum rose through the square. The ships above pulsed in light. Human Remembrancer Council all joined in silence. The city lights had changed. They were no longer bright with power or pride. Now they glowed soft and quiet, like candles after a storm. The council had bowed. Earth had spoken. The Remembrancers had judged. And now, the galaxy was watching. Watching to see if this new peace would last, or if it was already breaking apart. Chapter 1. A flag raised from ashes. A new flag was lifted over the council hall. It had no stars, no emblems, no golden crests, just a simple gray thread twisting into a circle, representing unity, memory, and the endless path to truth. The crowd was silent, then cheers rose, but not everyone cheered. From balconies and alleys, whispers remained. They forgave the humans too easily. What if Earth returns with war next time? What if Whisperfield wasn't the only secret? And in the shadows of the city, some listened to those voices. Chapter 2. Cracks in the stone inside the council tower. Chancellor Errol Voss sat at a large table with Ada Ryle, Lyra, and other delegates. They discussed joint aid missions, shared patrols, and rebuilding destroyed colonies. But halfway through the meeting, an aide rushed in. "Sir, 3 council colonies just refused the peace plan." "Which colonies?" Ada asked sharply. "Orlan 5, Damar Reach, and Felon's Hollow. All say Earth cannot be trusted." Errol's face darkened. "Then we go to them," Ada said. "Face to face." Errol nodded slowly, but something in his eyes shifted. Chapter 3. First Visit. Orlan 5 was a mining world, dry and harsh. Ada, Errol, and Lyra arrived by shuttle. No weapons, only a peace banner. They were met by Governor Dren Voln, who refused a handshake. "You're lucky we let your ship land," he growled. "Why should we bow to ghosts?" Ada didn't blink. "You don't have to bow," she said softly, "but you should listen." Lyra stepped forward and played a short recording. A Whisperfield child crying as fire fell from the sky. The governor flinched, but said nothing. Chapter 4. A darker signal. Later that night, as they returned to orbit, the ship picked up a strange signal.encrypted old tech. Pre-war frequency Unit 9OA decoded it. The message was simple: "We are not finished. The council bends too easily. Let us finish what we started." Ada's blood went cold. It wasn't from Orlan 5. It was from inside council territory, and it wasn't the humans threatening war. It was the council's own hidden hand. Chapter 5. The Secret Division. Errol confessed. There was a project. Long ago, before Whisperfield, it was shut down. "What kind of project?" Ada demanded. "A military group, Shadow Corps, designed to erase hostile planets before they could resist." Lyra's eyes widened. "And it still exists?" "No," Errol said. "It was buried." But the signal said otherwise. Ada stood, then someone just dug it back up. Chapter 6. The Second Betrayal. Within hours, explosions rocked the council world's skyport. Sabotage. Shadow Corps had returned. But this time, not as an official army. They had become something worse, a ghost fleet. No markings, no flags. Just fire. They believed Earth was too dangerous to trust. They wanted to finish the job Whisperfield had started. Chapter 7. Humanity responds. Ada sent a single word back to Earth. Shadows returned. Within minutes, Earth responded. Ships arrived, but not to attack. They brought aid, rescue pods, medical bots. No weapons drawn. They saved council lives, even as Shadow Corps ships fired on them. Chapter 8. What makes a flag? Real people across the council world saw the images. Human medics saving alien children. Human engineers fixing council power grids. Human captains shielding innocent ships with their own hulls. They had no reason to protect, no duty to forgive. But they did it anyway, because they remembered what it felt like to burn. Chapter 9. One last message before the end of the day, Unit 9A sent one final message to all known frequencies. Its voice was calm like always. You wanted to erase us. Now we bring light where you cast shadows. We carry no crown, no empire, no need for control. We carry only memory. Let that be enough. Epilogue. A flag in the wind. The new council flag fluttered over the rebuilt square, still fragile, still imperfect. But this time, it was guarded, not by guns, but by memory, by those who refused to forget, and by one small girl, standing on the balcony beside Ada. Lyra looked at the stars and whispered, "They'll never silence us again." The great chamber was silent. Every seat in the council hall was filled. Screens across the galaxy broadcasted live. Every species was watching, and at the center of it all stood Ada Ryle, a human. She looked calm, but inside, her heart pounded. Because today the council was doing something it had never done before. They were offering Earth something unthinkable. They wanted humans to lead. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Vote Chancellor. Errol Voss stood, his voice echoing across the marble chamber. "For the first time in our history," he said, "we vote not from tradition but from truth. We ask Earth to become part of the high seat, not just as a member but as a guide." Gasps filled the room. One by one, representatives raised their hands. Yes, yes, yes. Even worlds once silent. Orlan 5, Damar Reach joined in. The vote, past all eyes turned to Ada. Chapter 2. The Moment Earth. Spoke Ada stepped to the podium. Her voice was calm but carried weight. "You ask us to lead," she said. "But maybe what the galaxy needs is not a leader." She paused. "Maybe it needs a reminder." Gasps again. Confused whispers. Ada continued. "You feared us. You fought us. You buried us in silence, but we came back, not to rule, but to help you remember what matters. We don't want thrones. We don't need power." She looked around. "We want something stronger." Chapter 3. The power of refusal. Lyra stepped forward, holding a folded cloth. She opened it gently. It was the gray circle, the flag Earth had flown when helping council citizens, not a symbol of dominance but of memory, and pain, and healing. Ada pointed to it. "We offer this, not as rulers, but as guardians of truth. If you still want us to lead, let it be by example, not by force." Chapter 4. The council's reaction. Silence followed. Then, slowly, a counselor stood. Counselor Drain, once a harsh critic of Earth. He cleared his throat. "I once feared humanity. I still do, sometimes." He looked at Ada and Lyra. "But today, I fear more what we would become without you." Applause broke out, not wild, but real, because this time, no one was pretending. Chapter 5. A new assembly. In the days that followed, something incredible happened. The council didn't just welcome Earth, they changed everything. No more seats for titles alone. Every world got a vote. Whisperfield was added to the council records as a lesson. The remembrancers were given their own voice in future decisions, and at the center of it all, a human-built AI, Unit 9A, was placed in the hall as a living archive, not to rule, but to remember. Chapter 6. The Shadow's Last Try, but not all agreed. In a far part of the galaxy, Shadow Corps made one last strike. They launched a silent drone toward the council hall, armed, cloaked, and fast. But this time, they were not alone in the shadows. A ship intercepted the drone seconds before impact. The pilot was human. She spoke, only once. No more lies in the dark. Then the drone was gone, dust in orbit, and the threat faded. Chapter 7. 1 year later, 1 year passed. The council still argued. Worlds still disagreed. But something had changed, because now, every decision began with one question. What would Whisperfield remember? The question was enough to stop 1,000 wars. Ada Ryle still walked the halls. Lyra had joined the new Academy of Memory. Earthships patrolled, but only to protect. The war had ended, not with fire, but with truth. Chapter 8. The Last Broadcast 1. Night, Ada sat in her quarters. Unit 9A's voice came on softly. New message. Do you wish to hear it? Play it, she said. It was a child's voice, human, recorded long ago. I don't know if anyone is listening, but if you are, don't forget us. Ada closed her eyes. No, she whispered. We won't. She sent the recording to every known star system, with only one sentence attached. This is where it all began. Final epilogue. The galaxy. After humans. Said no in the future, historians would argue about what changed the galaxy. Some said it was the Whisperfield broadcast. Others said it was the Remembrancers. Some believed it was Lyra's voice, breaking the silence. But most agreed. The galaxy didn't change when humans took power. It changed when humans refused it, and chose to carry the burden of memory instead.